Okay, business versus economic profit. This is the key concept in managerial economics. In this section, we will be focusing on the difference between the economic profit and the business profit and the economic profit. What is the difference between the two? What do we mean by the explicit cost? What do we mean by the implicit cost? And how they are important for the decision making. So, to the general public and the business community, business profit refers to the revenue of the firm minus the explicit cost. So, to the general public, business profit is equal to total revenue minus explicit cost. Explicit cost is also known as accounting cost. This is also known as accounting cost. Explicit costs are the actual out-of-pocket expenditures. What do we mean by explicit cost? Explicit cost is actually out-of-pocket expenditures of the firm to purchase the inputs it requires in production. For example, the firm needs raw materials. The firm hires labor services, rent for land, etc. So, for all these things the firm spend his money. So, this is out-of-pocket expenditures. These expenditures are called out-of-pocket expenditures. They are going from the pocket of the firm. So, for the business profit, in order to calculate the business profit, the business community or the common people or the general public always subtract this amount from the total revenue. For example, if this revenue is $100 and this cost is $5, so we can say that business profit is equal to $10 minus $5 equals, it means that the firm is getting $5. This is the total profit of the firm. But economics always deals in broader terms. If we say about the economic profit, this term is broader one than this term. Economic profit doesn't mean revenue minus explicit cost, but economists, for example, economic profit is equal to revenue minus explicit cost plus implicit cost. According to the economist, economic profit means revenue minus explicit cost and implicit cost. So we can also write it as revenue minus explicit cost minus implicit cost. For example, if this amount is $15, this amount is $8, and this amount is $3, we need to subtract both the amounts from the total revenue. So this will become $15 minus $8 minus $3. This is called economic profit. So economic profit means total revenue of the firm minus explicit cost and implicit cost. So in the economic profit, we are also adding implicit cost of the production. In the business profit, we are only including explicit cost. So business profit means revenue minus explicit cost, but economic profit means revenue minus explicit cost minus implicit cost. The question is that what do we mean by implicit cost? Why economists are always excluding this amount in order to get economic profit? Implicit cost refers to the value of the input owned and used by the firm in its own production. For example, if manager of an organization for example, we have a firm and the owner of the firm is also acting as a manager of that organization. So it includes the salary the entrepreneur could earn from working to someone else in a similar capacity. For example, the manager of another firm. If manager, this is, suppose his name is A. If manager A is working in another organization, for example, organization B, here his salary is $0 because he is working in his own organization. So he is having no salary. He is just thinking in direction of profit, that I am receiving profit, but he is not interested or he is not looking in terms of salary. If this manager is working this organization, maybe suppose he gets $100 as salary, or maybe this manager has its own building, so he is not receiving any kind of rent. He has his own building, so rent from the building is also $0. So the inputs owned and used by the firm in its own production process. This manager is busy in producing different products within this organization, and this is the organization of that manager. So even though the firm can use them without any actual explicit cost, their implicit costs are what these inputs could earn in the best alternative profits. For example, if he is having no building for his own production processes. He can give this building to someone else for rent. Maybe from there he can get some rent. So the economists include the normal return on own resources as a part of the cost. The concept of business profit may be useful for accounting and tax purposes, whereas the concept of economic profit is used in order to reach the correct investment decision. So for the correct investment decision, the economists also are also thinking in this direction, means by adding explicit cost in order to get the total amount of profit. Let me give you a real world example, a very simple example. This point will be more clear to you. Suppose, for example, annual profit. For example, annual profit business profit of a firm is $30,000. This is the business profit, annual business profit. This is the business profit of a firm, which is $30,000. But the entrepreneur could have earned $35,000 by managing another firm. Suppose if this manager performed his duty in another organization. For example, this is organization B, and this is the profit from his own organization. Organization A, own organization. This is the profit he is earning from his own organization, $30,000. And the profit from another organization is 35,000. If he provides his services in another organization, suppose in organization B, he can get the total profit of amount $35,000. And by lending out his capital, he is also using his capital here. This is his own organization, this is his profit, and lending out his capital. But he is using his capital in his own production process. So amount is $0 because he is using his capital in his own production activity. But if he lend out his capital to another organization and the amount, the same capital receives the amount, for example, $5,000. So to the economist, this entrepreneur is actually incurring an economic loss of $15,000. It means from the economic point of view, loss to this entrepreneur is $15,000. The question is why he is incurring this amount of loss. Why he is incurring the loss of $15,000 even though he is earning $30,000 profit? This is the main question. So according to economists, from the business profit, we need to extract this amount. Then we will earn the actual amount of profit. This is the economic loss. $15,000. This is the business profit. If the entrepreneur owned no capital, here we are talking about his services and the use of his capital, his own services in his own organization and the use of capital services in his own organization. For his services, he receives nothing. For his capital, he receives nothing. But if the same entrepreneur works in another organization, and in that organization he gets $35,000, so it means in his own organization he is receiving $30,000, and if the same services he provide to another organization of the same kind, he get $5,000 more dollars. So it means one loss to his services is $5,000. Another loss to this entrepreneur is $10,000. So according to economists, total loss to that entrepreneur is $15,000, because he can get this amount if he provide the same services in another organization of the same kind. So this is, according to economists, this is loss. He can get this amount, mean 35,000. He can get this amount if he provide his services in another organization, but he is working in his own organization. So this is loss to economists. For the general community, for the general public, they don't include this amount into losses. They are thinking that we are receiving this amount of profit. And another thing is that from his capital, if he lends out his capital to another organization and his capital earns, for example, amount 5,000, 10,000, if his capital earns $10,000 for his for the capital services, this is another loss to the that particular entrepreneur. So the total loss he is incurring is $15,000. If the entrepreneur owned no capital, he could still incur an economic loss of $5,000 a year by continuing to operate his own firm and earning a business profit of $30,000. For example, if here we are focusing on 2 points. For economic profit, we are focusing on 2 points. Entrepreneur own services his capital, services of the capital. Suppose now we are saying if he is not utilizing the services of his own capital, he is not using the services of his own capital, but still he is losing some amount which is 5,000, because in his own organization he is earning $30,000, but if he provide his services in another organization, suppose organization B, he can get $35,000. So the loss is still $5 without using his capital. If he is using his own capital, the loss becomes $15,000. Similarly, if this entrepreneur uses the services of his own land and he receives nothing, that will be another loss, because he can earn more amount by providing his resources to other organizations. So now in a conclusion we can say that that business profit is not as much broader term as economic profit, because in the business profit we are not including this amount, and this is called implicit cost. These are the implicit costs. Implicit cost to the entrepreneur. So to the economist, we need to subtract this cost from the whole profit. Then we can get the economic profit. So it is the economic profit, concept of profit, that is important in directing resources to different sectors of organization. Due to the economic profit, economists are focusing on this concept, because the concept of implicit cost, the concept of economic profit is the one which directs the economy resources from one organization to another organization. If owner seeks profit in more profit in one organization than another, he will direct to use his own resources in that organization from where he can get more amount of profit as compared to the previous one. Now the question is that why profits are different in different organizations? Why profits are different among different firms in the same industries and among different firms among different industries? To answer this question, there are different theories, which is known as theories of profit. These are the theories which are focusing on the differences between or among profit levels of firm. Theories of profits. As we know that profit rates usually differ among firms in a given industry or among firms in different industries. This is the fact that firms among profit rates among firms in a given industry or among firms in different industries are totally different. For example, we have industry A. we have industry B. We have two kinds of industries. In this industry, suppose, for example, we have three firms. This is firm A, this is firm B, this is firm C. And in industry B, suppose we have four firms. Firm A, firm B, firm C, firm D. The key question arises that why the profits, for example, firm A profit pi 1, this is pi 2, this is pi 3. Pi 1, pi 2, pi 3, the profits earned by these firms. The basic question arises that why the profit levels among different firms in the same industry differ from each other. Like, for example, this profit is $10, $8, $5. So the core question is that why these profit levels differ from each other within the same industry, which is industry A. And for example, this is $15, $10, $11, $7. Why the profit levels among these firms differ from each other within this industry? It means that why the profit levels differ from each other, different firms are having different profits level within the same industry. Same is the case with industry B, that why different firms from A, B, C, D, why they are having different profit levels within this specific industry. Now look at into this point from another angle. Why the firms in industry A profit are different from the firm's profit in industry B? First, we are looking into within the same industry, like why this profit level of this profit is different from this, and why this level of profit is different from this one. So we are just looking into a single industry, that why these profits are different in the same industry. Now the question is why these profits, these firm profits are different from another industry firm's profit. In order to give answer to this question, we have theories of profits. There are different postulations in order to give answer to these questions, because theories of firms try to explain why there are differences among profit levels of different firms within the same industry or as compared to different industries, different firm units. So theories of profit. Profit rates usually differ among firms in a given industry or among firms in different industry. Firms in such industries as steel, textile, railroads generally earn very low profit, both absolutely and in relation to the profits of firms in pharmaceutical, office equipments and other a high technology industry. For example, we say that steel industry pharmaceutical industry profit steel industry profit pharmaceutical industry profit, high technology industries, high technology industry, etc. Theories of profit are trying to give answer to this question, that why the steel industry profit is different from the pharmaceutical industry profit, why the pharmaceutical industry profit is totally different from the high technology use industry, why these profit levels among different industries are differ from each other, why they are different, why they are not alike, why they are not same. In order to give answer to this question, we have 5 theories. All these theories focusing on the answer to this question, that why profit levels are different among each other. The first theory is risk-bearing theories of profit. Risk-bearing theory of profit. The second one is frictional theory of profit. Frictional theory of profit. The third one is monopoly theory of profit. The fourth one is innovation theory of profit. And the fifth one is managerial efficiency theory of profit. Managerial efficiency theory of profit. These are 5 theories which are explaining the differences between or among the profit levels of different industries, that why one industry profit level is differ from another industry, why they are not the same. So actually these theories of profits are basically providing us the reasons that why profit levels are different among different industries. Let me focus on the first one. What is the basic postulation of this theory? Risk-bearing theory. According to this theory, risk-bearing theory of profit, above normal returns are required by firms to enter and remain in such fields as petroleum exploration with the above average risk. Above normal returns, it means that above normal returns are required by firms to enter and remain in such fields such as petroleum exploration with above average risks. This is the basic theme of the risk-bearing theory of profit. According to this theory, above normal returns means economic profit. Normal returns mean economic profit. So, above normal, look into this word. Above normal returns are required by firms to enter and remain in such fields such as petroleum exploration. For example, if we focus on this industry with above average risk. For example, for the survival of some specific industries that are using a huge technology, capital intensive goods, they need above normal returns, above normal economic profit in order to survive, in order to remain in the market. First, for example, if in industry, suppose this is the market, and this is firm A. Firm A wants to enter into this market, into this existing market. So, for his entrance, he needs more profit, he needs more money. And for example, if he enters into this market for his survival, he needs to remain in this market. So for his survival, he needs above normal returns. So risk-bearing theory of profit means that above normal returns are required by firms to enter and remain in such fields such as petroleum exploration into above average risk. It means that above normal returns must be higher than above average risk. Then above average risk. if the amount to his risk is less than his return, he will get more profit. So it means that in order to survive in the existing market or in order to enter into the new market, he needs more amount. If he earns more returns from his production and that return is above the normal, normal means that total revenue is equal to total cost. So economic profit in this case is 0. If this is the case, he will not enter into the market. He needs above normal profit, which we can call it supernormal profit. If the firm expects that I will earn supernormal profit by entering into this existing market, he will survive. Otherwise, he will leave the industry. So this is the basic theme of the risk-bearing theory, that if the firm earns above normal return as compared to the above average risk, he will remain in the industry in the long term. Another example of the expected return on stocks, for example, the expected return on stock has to be higher than on bonds because of the greater risk of the farmer. If the expected return on stock is higher than on bond, then definitely there will be profit. The next important theory of profit is the frictional theory of profit. The second theory is the frictional theory of profit. This theory stresses that profits arise as a result of friction. According to this theory, profits arise as a result of friction or disturbances. From the long run equilibrium level. How profits arise? Profits arise as a result of friction or disturbances from the long run equilibrium. In the long run, perfectly competitive equilibrium firms tend to earn only a normal profit. As we already know that in the long run, perfectly competitive firm earn normal profit. On their investment. At any time, firms are not likely to be in the long run equilibrium and may earn a profit or incur a loss. So normal profit means that we can also write it as total revenue is equal to total cost. This means that profit is zero, but the firms are still existing in the market because they are covering their variable cost. They are already covering their fixed cost as well as their variable cost. So they are not in the case of losses. So in the long run, perfectly competitive firms under perfect competition, they earn normal profit. For example, perfect competition case. The firms and industries earn normal profit in the long run. So it means that there is, if the profit is normal, it means that economic profit is zero. If this is the normal profit case, it means that economic profit is zero. So after investing in the long run, the perfectly competitive firms earn normal profit. At any times, firms are not likely to be in long run equilibrium and may earn a profit or incur a loss. So this was the case of perfectly competitive firm in the long run. But we said that in the long run, a firm will not always be there. Maybe there are two cases, two possibilities. One is profit, second one is loss. Loss mean negative profit. Profit mean supernormal profit. So these are two possibilities that may occur. For example, a firm may get profit or a firm may incur loss. So it means that the perfectly competitive firms will not remain in the long run by earning normal profit. Maybe after some time they can get profit, which is known as supernormal profit, or maybe they incur loss, which is known as negative profit. For example, energy crisis in 1970s. At the time of the energy crisis in the early 1970s, I think it was 1973. The energy crisis in the early 1970s, firms producing insulating materials enjoyed a sharp increase in demand, leading towards large profits. Those firms who were producing insulating materials, they enjoyed a sharp increase in demand, leading towards price. So it means that those industries who were producing insulating, who were producing insulating products enjoyed higher demands. This was the case when energy crises were occurred in 1970s, especially I think in the year of 1973. So those industries who were producing insulating products enjoyed higher demand. It means that due to the higher demand, sales of insulating products become higher, and due to this reason they enjoyed profit. So what does it mean? It means that in the long run these industries were enjoying the normal profit, but due to the disturbances from the long run equilibrium, in the short run due to the energy crisis, these industries enjoyed higher demands. Due to the higher demands, their sales of insulating products increase, and due to which they earn a higher economic profit. So this will be the case that total revenue is equal to total cost of that firm. This is just due to the disturbances due to shocks in the short run. Shocks means energy crisis. So these firms enjoyed higher profits in the short run due to the occurrences of energy crisis in the early 1970s. So that's why profits are different from other industries. So this theory is focusing on the reason that if we are having disturbances from the long run equilibrium, so some industries can get more profit than the other industries. Similarly, let me explain another example. This is first example was energy crisis in the early 1970s. Now let me explain you another example. Sharp decline in petroleum prices. Sharp decline in petroleum products. With the sharp decline in petroleum prices in the mid-1980s, many of these firms began to incur losses. mid of 1980s. In the mid of 1980s, there was a sharp decline in petroleum products, due to which loss occurred to the specific industries, those industries who were related to the processing and extraction of petroleum products. Those industries occurred economic loss in this age. So in case of profits in the short run, new firms will enter. So if we look at into both the examples, so in the energy crisis, industries earn profit. In the case of sharp decline in petroleum prices, loss. They experience loss. Means we can also call it negative profit. And in economics, the symbol which we use for the loss is minus pi. Pi means profit, minus means negative profit. So negative profit means loss. So this was in the short run. The question is that other firms which are not exist already in the industry, they take the decision based on the position in the short run and long run. For example, in case of profits in the short run, new firms enter to the industry in the long run. For example, in the short run, we are talking about the short course of time. During the short course of time, if, for example, there are firms in the market, if these firms earn profit in the short run, new firms will enter into the market. New firms entry. If those firms which are earning profits in the short run, so new firms will try to enter into the market in order to get some share of that profit. It means that profit is a signal for the new firms to enter into the market and to divide this amount of profit among more firm units. But if in the short run, on the other hand, if in the short run firms like this case, if they are facing losses minus profit, what will be the signal to other firms? Two effects will occur. One is existing firms will leave the industry. Second, no entry of new firms. So it means that if in the short run firms are incurring losses, so the existing firms will leave the industries. For example, there are 10 firms working in a given industry. they will become 9, maybe 8, maybe 1. So the existing firms will leave the industry one by one from the market, as well as no entry of new firms. New firms will not enter into this market because they can see the losses they are incurring in the short run. So it means that disequilibrium from the long run may cause profit to firms or may incur loss to firms. If in the short run the firms earn supernormal profit, new firms will enter into the market in order to get more benefit, in order to share the existing total profit of the industry. But if in the short run the existing firms face losses or incur losses, so the existing firms will leave the industry because they cannot survive anymore within the industry because they are not able to cover their variable cost. If the industries are not able to cover their variable costs, they will leave the industry. And the second impact is that no entry of new firms. New firms will not enter into this market because they know that these firms are already in losses. So how they will get more money? So the basic theme of this theory is that the firm differs, and the profits of firm differ due to the disturbances, or due to the friction, or due to the disequilibrium from the long run. In the long run, they are earning normal profit, but in the short run, maybe they earn supernormal profit, maybe they incur losses. The third form is monopoly theory of profit. The third theory is monopoly theory of profit. This is another kind of competition. Market structure, monopoly is another kind of market structure. Third number theory is monopoly theory of profit. For this theory, first we need to understand the concept of monopoly. What do we mean by monopoly? Who is a monopolist? So, monopoly is a market structure where one seller controls the overall production. He is the owner of the whole output. Monopoly is a market structure where one seller controls the whole market. So the seller is known as monopolist. So monopolist is the one who controls the whole market. There are no rival competitors. There is no competition. And he is the, another important point is that monopolist is the price maker of the commodity. He is the price maker of the commodity. According to his willing, according to his wish, he can increase or decrease price of the particular commodity. So, monopoly theory of profit is focusing on the monopolistic behavior in a market and how his behavior affect the profit level, how he earns more profit as compared to perfectly competitive profit firms. Firms having monopoly power, those firms having monopoly power, I mean monopolists, those firms having monopoly power, they always restrict output according to his or her will, restrict output and charge higher prices, restrict output, and second one is charge higher prices as compared to perfectly competitive firms. So, those firms who are having monopoly power in the industry, they restrict output level and they can charge higher prices as compared to the firms involved in the working in the perfectly competitive market. So, these are the strategies. It means that monopolist having two strategies. One is Q, second one is price. He restricts this level of output, for example, by keeping fixed the amount of output, or maybe he can reduce the amount of output in the market for some benefits. And second one is, as compared to the perfectly competitive market, his price is higher for his commodities. So, those firms who are having monopoly power can restrict output and can charge higher prices, due to which, because of these two tools, he can earn supernormal profit. Supernormal profit. Due to the restriction of total output in the market and due to the charge of higher prices for his commodities, the monopolist can earn supernormal profit in the market, both in the short run as well as in the long run. So, it means that his total revenue is greater than total cost. It means that profit is positive, supernormal profit. So, monopoly theory of profit focuses on that if the monopolist in a market who is having the monopoly power can earn supernormal profit, can earn more profit than the perfectly competitive firms, both in the short run as well as in the long run. Why he earn supernormal profit? The question is, why the monopolists earn supernormal profit. Because of restricted entry into the industry, these firms can continue to earn profits even in the long run. Because in the monopoly market, there are barriers to entry. This is one of the characteristics of monopoly. One is barriers to entry of new firms in the market. New firms cannot easily enter into the market. There are barriers. The barriers may be of different kinds, maybe due to the financial barriers, maybe due to the lack of resources, maybe due to the physical barriers. There are different kinds of barriers due to which new firms cannot enter into the market. If the new firms cannot get into the market, the monopolist earns supernormal profit. He enjoys his status and earns supernormal profit. Monopoly power may arise from the firm owning and controlling the entire supply of a raw material required for the production of commodity. Why he is enjoying his monopoly power? Why he is enjoying his monopoly power? Due to the controlling of entire supply of the products that he is using in the production of the commodity. He is having hold on all the entire raw materials that are needed for the production of goods and services. If he is having control and command and owning of the raw materials which he use in the production of goods and services, he will automatically enjoy the monopoly profit. And if he enjoy the monopoly power, he can earn supernormal profit. So these were three theories which I discussed in this lecture. In the next lecture, I will discuss the remaining two theories, that why firms earn different profits, why firms in different industries have different prices than others within the same industries or outside the industries. So these are the theories which are trying to explain that why firm profits are different within or outside the specific industries. See you next time. Bye bye.